Welcome back to the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. So to start this video out, I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning of the ditch. So about a week ago, prior to this video, they went through and did a lot of trimming along the road, which was great. Stuff has kind of been growing out, so the county went through and did some cleaning, but then didn't clean up their mess afterwards and left all this debris in the ditch, which is the overflow for the pond. So went through, put the ditching bucket on, and worked on getting this cleaned up so that the water could flow. So you can kind of see there on the left hand side, kind of getting it cleaned up, and then what we had, what we're getting out of there. So parked the dump trailer in front, and then basically just dumping that stuff in there. Got a pretty good load, and then took it back to the green hole to get it dumped. So this is on the kind of the north side of the drive. We still need to do the south side of the drive. We didn't get that this time, but we'll need to do it as well because it kind of has the same situation. But you can see all the gunk we're getting out, and then just kind of what it looks like afterwards. So one of those projects we wanted to get done just because it was kind of logging things up. Then come back here after he dumped and kind of get this stuff cleaned up and get it pushed back in to the pile a little bit and kind of get it stirred up just because it is pretty mucky. So let the sun hit that and kind of get it dried out a little bit. And then just doing general pushing back because we're going to haul some more stuff back today and get things cleaned up. The main objective today is kind of get more of the area cleaned up from kind of that home site area, and try to get as much of that opened up as possible. So he's got another load here with the dump trailer, so just waiting for him to get that backed up over and get it dumped out, and then I can push it back as well. This is mostly the muck kind of toward the front, so it was mostly dirt and not as many of the sticks and stuff, but still wanted to get it cleaned up while we had everything going. And I had this one branch that had fallen before, so just got it put over there while I was driving the tractor back and forth. Now we know that we're mostly going to be doing brush and things like that. Go ahead and we work on getting the doors taken off the back of the trailer. So basically there's two bolts that allow the gate to swing open. So like if you're spreading stone, or like you see on dump trucks where you can kind of allow to spread. We're gonna get this opened up here and taken off just so that you don't have stuff get stuck on it, and you don't have the doors, even though they clip open. Just with our path being pretty narrow, it just allows them not to get caught on anything and makes it a lot easier to just not worry about. So take the impact and a wrench and get these zipped off, and basically you just have the two bolts, and it also adjusts the door and how it closes, so it's threaded through and allows you to adjust the door. Is how these systems work, but you basically just throw them all the way out, and allows you to then take the door off in its entirety, and it includes like the part that the ramps would clip on. So get that set up, and then we just set it up in the woods where it'll be out of the way. And then here, just quickly taking off the bucket and putting back on the 12-inch bucket. So we have that complete. Kind of get back to our main objective of what we were working on, and that's getting these trees not cleaned up here in the home site, specifically the septic area where we don't want stuff to fall once we have the septic in. So just kind of working on getting that cleaned up at this time, just so that it's out of the way and done. So there's a couple sycamore trees and just some other smaller trees that aren't really of any value and are leaning that direction. So I got one cut down there, and then working on getting another one here. So follow that sycamore, and you can see, you know, a little bit of it touched the septic area. So again, that's kind of why we wanted to do that now. So again, we marked all that out. You can see it in the blue paint there, and making sure to drive around that area. So we don't want to compact that soil or cause any disturbance in that area where the septic will go. You know, at this point, with hoping to put it in, you know, kind of that late summer, fall time, we don't want to disturb that area. So we have it marked out. Then getting these trees, we can go through and get them cleaned up with avoiding that area. So getting the sycamore logs taken out here, have several segments, various firewood and or stuff that we can put on the mill. So we got the majority of the brush picked up. Gonna come back and get this next and start putting it in the dump trailer. And that's a nice thing that we kind of wanted to do with this, and that's why we have both trucks here and have the dump trailer with this, is being able to clean up our mess as we go. So in the past we have, you know, dropped trees and then just kind of create a pile that we'll pick up later. At this stage, definitely we're trying to get everything done. We are just cleaning up as we go and utilizing the dump trailer now instead of later, so we don't just create another mess that we have to pick up at a future date. And right now we really don't have a place for it, just because we, you know, have the septic area that we're going to be utilizing, and then again the home site in general we want more cleaned up. So this is going to be the majority of the video, kind of from here on out, just utilizing the 62 and getting using that grapple and getting a lot of this picked up and running back and forth, getting some stuff dumped. So work on that, have a couple more trees that we want to get dropped and get things picked up. Toward the end, do a little bit of drone photos to kind of show how it's opened up. It's one of those, as you look at it, you know, you don't really realize how much the sky really opens as you go through and do this. But definitely getting those sycamores out of there, they take up a lot of light, so getting those out really helps brighten up the area. And here's more just a real-time look at the dump trailers. It's not particularly fast when picking up, but we've not had an issue. Throughout the next couple weeks we utilize it and don't have any issues with dumping anything. In a later video you'll see we use it to move some dirt, and even though it's pretty heavy, it doesn't have any issue picking it up. Really happy with this purchase. One of those things you could do without in most cases, but it makes it a lot handier for doing things like this, just because you can, you know, move a lot more brush and you know, just utilize it for moving equipment and things like that, but then also utilizing to move material. next up, I'm getting cleaned around a locust tree. I know it's supposed to make really good boards, it's supposed to be really hard and kind of rot resistant. I know a lot of kind of posts are made out of that from old farms. Unfortunately, this one has a big split in it and started the, I don't know, just the way it grew, there's kind of a weird split. And so it's really just going to be a little bit of firewood, and you know, a lot of it wasn't that good, so you know, kind of move it along. So unfortunately, that was kind of the case with it. We're hoping to maybe get some potential you know, lumber out of it, just because it would be interesting to try to mill some of that up. I don't know if you use it for much else other than, you know, kind of the fence posts and stuff, but it'd be interesting to see if we had an application for it. So I moved the camera over here, give you a little bit different perspective whenever we drop this other tree. Again, just kind of seeing the 62 work here. I'm definitely telling you that, you know, this is a lot easier than doing a lot of it by hand. So here we have areas that will pile into kind of a singular area and then utilize the 62 to pick it up. Depending on, you know, what all's around, that can be easier. But you can see the amount of stuff that I can get picked up in one grapple load and kind of get moved, whereas, you know, it'd be a lot of work by hand. And that's the other thing, kind of utilizing the grapple. Found that you want to cut things, so like the dump trailer is 16 foot long, so you don't want anything longer than that essentially, but otherwise you want to kind of leave things longer whenever you're utilizing the grapple. If you cut things too short, it can actually be more challenging to pick them up and to you know, get them in to the jaws of the grapple. If you leave things bigger and longer, then it's just much easier to get a hold of. So here I moved the camera pretty far away. We had this red oak here that was kind of at the verge of, depending on how exactly you cut it, which way it was going to go. So I cleaned up a little bit behind it so that I could get behind the push. And we had these couple of smaller trees around that just weren't really worth much, so I go ahead and get them picked up. We'd already moved the truck back a ways so that it was away from whichever direction the tree wanted to go. So I go ahead and just put the brush there, and once we get this tree down, I get that little bit of brush put in the trailer. So he gets his cuts done and then able to just push that over. And then these are some pretty decent red oak pieces here. So be able to turn them into some boards or posts or something. So have 2 or 3 links here that aren't too bad, and then the top of that tree, we try to save some of it because the red oak does make really good firewood. Burns for a long time, burns hot, and then the rest of it, it's, you can see, pretty brushy. So it just ends up in the dump trailer and into the green hole. This is fairly time dependent just because of wanting to do the septic. Whenever we try to drop other trees, definitely kind of some of the ones in the woods for our long range activities, we'll try to do some of that more in the winter so you don't have all the greenery to mess with. You know, it just, obviously putting it in the dump trailer takes up a lot more, and then if you have to handle any of it, it's you know, just a lot more to handle. Whenever if you watch the video of cleaning up some of the food plot area, we try to do a lot of that, or as much as we could, kind of in that winter time frame or before the leaves really came on, just because once it starts to really grow up, it just becomes a lot more to handle. So we were able to get that project done. Then this one, you know, if we kind of maybe planned a little bit more, we could have gotten, but we just kind of weren't to that stage yet as far as where exactly the septic was going to go, and we didn't have a lot of kind of the main trees now where the septic is. We didn't have those out yet, so you know, it's just one of those time things, and finally got you know, the big sycamore, the maple, all that was there, and got it away. So I'll have to go back and do some digging and find some old photos when we hadn't cut any trees down to obviously what we have now, and maybe in a future video kind of do a side-by-side of that and really show how different it is. I wish I would have had the drone going kind of before to really have an aerial before shot, because I think that's where you really notice. I mean, obviously at the ground you see the trees, but whenever all the leaves are on and you're looking down and you can't really see the ground from everything, and then you have an above shot to where you can see it, I think that's where you really notice a difference. So again, just utilizing the dump trailer to get stuff moved back. So this is where having that gravel is nice. Right now, that Chevy that we have is two-wheel drive, that older truck, so it doesn't like much dirt or mud. So having the gravel really allows us to utilize that vehicle there and get this stuff taken back. So again, that's courtesy of the power company. They needed to get around to replace those poles, and our main condition was, you know, they can't rut up everything, and since they needed to get some trucks, several trucks and equipment back there, this was their solution to that. So we've obviously been able to benefit from that, and has been very, very helpful, and you know, has gotten us a long way on some of that. Since we kind of get toward the end of moving brush today, I go ahead and use the backhoe to try to get stuff kind of pushed back. So there's a pretty good hole behind and then to the two sides. Next time we have the 62 out, really need to widen that area out so we have more room to put brush. But this is about all we get done today. Go ahead and get cleaned up. Kind of show you some shots here of the ditch with the drone, and do an overview of that. But basically, we go ahead and leave the equipment there, have another day of getting stuff cleaned up, and get everything opened up for the septic, and really, you know, next few videos are really going to be focused around that and getting things cleaned up so that we'll be ready for that project when we get everything in place. You know, there's several factors that go into that with the permit, getting the inspections, getting a tank, and then getting all the material on site. So I have a fair amount to plan to do that, but getting everything in place and trying to just make sure that the site prep is done so that it's ready for when everything else comes together. So just doing some shots here. You can see beyond that, so we've cleaned up this area so that it's part of the yard. Beyond that, it's still just wood, so you could see where they'd kind of cleaned up and then everything just fell down. So whenever I fly this direction, you can kind of see, so the post that you see there is our other drain that comes out. The other reason we wanted to do this, and we've been talking about, is with kind of how backed up it was before. There was still a little bit of brush down, but nothing like it was. The water level had raised enough to where our pipe was actually constantly underwater, so it wasn't allowing that drain to drain. So the water was getting to that drain from the opening that we put all the way down, but you know, obviously it wasn't getting out. So now with this, it's able to get out and kind of have this all opened up. So that's it for today. Stay on the lookout for you know, more videos of cleanup and getting the site prep done. So thank you for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.